Hey everyone, it's Mr. Ernst. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we are working on fractions a little bit more. We're going to talk about multiplying fractions today. We'll do some dividing of fractions tomorrow. So we'll jump right in. All right. Today we're talking about multiplying fractions. This is our day one. Tomorrow we'll do dividing fractions, as I just mentioned. The big thing when we are multiplying fraction is we have two big points. One is to multiply the numerators. Two is to multiply the denominators. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. If we look at our example right here on top, we have 3/7 times 4/5. What we're going to do is we're really just going to multiply the numerators. Those are our top numbers. Multiply our denominators. Those are the bottom numbers. And that will be our answer. So we're going to take the tops times the bottoms. I rewrote it like this. Make it a little easier for you to see. 3 times 4 is 12. 7 times 5 is 35. And this would be your answer. If we could simplify that, that's what we would do here using that greatest common divisor. I already know that these ones do not have anything that they can be divided by, so this is our final answer right here. This is going to be a little bit different than when we're adding fractions, because when we're adding fractions, we keep that denominator the same and just add on the top. When we are multiplying fractions, we multiply the numerator, multiply the denominators. That's our big takeaway here for today. We'll get some practice with that here right now, and we'll also practice simplifying a little bit using that greatest common divisor. So right here, we have 2/5 times 1/3. You can also see it like this with those parentheses. You know that means multiply as well. So what we're going to do is we're multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 3 is 15. I already know that these don't have anything to divide by because the only thing we could divide 2 by is 2, and 15 can't be divided by 2. So that's our final answer right there. All right, we're looking at our next one here. We're paying attention to those negatives. Works the exact same way. This number is negative. This number is positive. A negative times a positive is always a negative. So I already know my answer is going to be negative. All I have to do here is divide the tops, multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. 10 on top, 18 on bottom. We got to find that greatest common divisor. We can do that by using our trees. I'll break that down real quick. 9, 2, 3, 3. 10 is going to be 5 and 2. I see they have in common a 2. So we're going to divide each by 2. That's our greatest common divisor right there. We'll get 5 on top, 9 on bottom, and we know it's a negative because we had a negative times a positive. There's our final answer. One more, we have two negatives. A negative times a negative is always going to be a positive. Same sign. So our only step here is just multiply tops, multiply bottoms. We're going to get 3 on top, 1 times 3. 4 times 8 on bottom is going to be 32. 3 can only be divided by 3. 32 can't be divided by 3, so we are done right there. Pretty simple. Big thing to note, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. Sometimes you're going to have a little bit of bigger fractions that you can simplify before you even multiply. I'll show you that right now. So the way that we can do this is if these fractions have anything that they can any common factors, we can simplify those right away. So look what I did here. We had 9/15 times -5/9. I see this 15, I see this -5. I know they can both be divided by 5, so I did that. I divide this by 5, made it a 3, divide this by 5, made it a -1. I found those common factors. They can be anywhere, doesn't have to be in a certain spot. I had a 9 on top, 9 on bottom over here. I know I could divide both those by 9. They had some common factors. Divide them both by 9. Got 1 on top, 1 on bottom. I'll show you how this would work out. 9 over 15 times -5 over 9. We multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. We'd have -45 on top and bottom. I'll punch this one in the calculator quick. 15 times 9, 135. I'm not going to go through steps of simplifying that right now. I'm just going to punch in my calculator for sake of time. And right there, we've got -1/3. But after we simplified this, let's do it this way. -1 on top, 3 on bottom, negative 1/3. So we can take those steps to divide those common factors out. You gotta find them first. You don't even have to do all of them if you don't want to. You can just do some of them and then simplify later. Let's take a look at this one right here. What can maybe two of these be divided by? I'm noticing something right here. I notice this 8 and this 4 can both be divided by 4. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rewrite this as y over 1 times 2 over 11. Now we multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms. We get 2y on top, 11 on bottom. Done deal. Otherwise, we would have done this as 8y on top, 44 on bottom, which is going to simplify into that. So we're taking those steps just to find those common factors. First, simplify first. Makes it a little quicker, a little easier. Looking at this one, I'm seeing what might I be able to simplify here. I notice this 3 and this 6 can both be divided by 3. So let's do it. That's going to leave me with 2 over 1 times 2 over 7. Multiply across the top, across the bottom. 4/7, simplest form. Otherwise, if we'd done this regular, we would have gotten 12 on top, 21 on bottom. Those can both be divided by 3. It also becomes 4/7. Whichever method you prefer, you can either simplify after and find those greatest common divisor, or you can simplify before and get the same answer. Don't confuse yourself. Do what works best for you. All right, looking at this last one, we have two sets here. I'm looking at this 9 and this 3, and this 2 and this 4. I can divide this by 3 and this by 3. I can divide this by 2 and this by 2. That's going to get this to become just an x or a 1x. On bottom, 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3 times 1 over 2. See what I did there? I found those commons right here. I found those commons right there. Those can both be divided by 3. These can both be divided by 2. Last step, multiply across. We're going to have x on top, 6 on bottom. If I hadn't done that, I would have gone with this first, and it would become 6x on top over 36. Those can both be divided by 6 to get x over 6. Whichever method works best for you, that's what I want you to work. All right, multiplying mixed numbers. This is really simple. It's going to be our same process, our same steps. The only difference is we are going to rewrite first using improper fractions. What is an improper fraction? Well, that means we have a bigger number on top than on bottom. Example would be 15 over 4. So if I had something that was like 2 and 2/4, I could rewrite this knowing that this really means 4 over 4 twice. 1 full 1, 2 full 1s. Add those up. We got 8 over 4 plus 2 over 4 equals 10 over 4. That's how I'd write that as an improper fraction. Another tip that you can do there is you can multiply this by the denominator. So I could take 2 times 4 and get 8, and then just add that to our top number, which is 2. So we got 2/4 plus 8/4, and again we get 10/4. And you'll see more examples of that. We talked about that a while back here. If you need to go back to those equivalent fractions lesson, do that if this is a little bit confusing for you. But we'll get plenty more examples here. All right, so right here we have the example. 3 3/4 times 2/5. So the first thing is to rewrite this as an improper fraction. We can do that two ways. Split that 3 up into 3 full fractions, 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4, because I know those are all equal to 1 3 times. Or we can take that 3 times the 4 and make it a 12/4, knowing we leave 4 on bottom. And then you're going to add that to the already existing 3/4. Finally, that gets us to this point right here. And we get 15 over 4. From here, all we do is multiply just like we were on the last page. 15 times 2 is 30 over 4 times 5 is 20. I see that these can both be divided by 10. That gets me to 3 over 2. We also could have looked at these and seen 15 and 5 can both be divided by 5. If we were to do that, we would do 3 over 4 times 2 over 1. And again, we would get, oh, and these can both be divided by 2. So we could divide that by 2 and make this 3 over 2 times 1 over 1. And we would get 3/2. Using a little bit of both those strategies we worked on the other side. I got one more example here. We have a negative times a positive, so we know our answer is going to be negative. Other than that, we don't need to worry about the negative. I can look at this and think of this as 2 full fractions. I can think of it as a 6 over 6 and a 6 over 6. Or I can do 2 times 6 and get 12. It'll work out the same. This is going to be 12/6 plus that original 5/6 is going to get me to negative 17/6 times, got to do our second one. This 1 is going to be a full 5/5 plus 3/5. Or we could do that 1 times 5 and know that that's 5 on top. Rewatch that lesson if you're a little confused on that. And we will get 8/5 there. So our final look right here is going to look something like this. From here, we multiply across the top, across the bottom. For the sake of time, I'm going to punch this one into the calculator. 17 times 8 on top. It's going to get me to 136. And we're going to have 30 on the bottom. This is not yet in simplest form. We can find the greatest common divisor here by making these factor trees. These ones might be a little bit bigger. I'll make this one a 5 and 6, and a 3 and 2. Done on that side. I'm going to start by just dividing this one into 2 and make it a 68 and 2. Put this up again. Make it a 34 and 2. Split up again. Make it a 17 and 2. And 17 is a prime number. What is the greatest common divisor? I see they both share a 2. So at the end, we can only divide them each by 2. And we will get 15 over 68 over 15. And we are done there. All right, and our last one here, we have a little bit of a word problem. They tell us a park is 3 2/5 miles long and 1/2 miles wide. What is the area of the park? Well, I know that's going to be length times width equals area. They told us the length is right here, the width is right here, so we're just going to multiply these together to find our area. Our first step is to turn this into an improper fraction. I know this is going to be 3 full fractions, or it's going to be 3 times 5, which is going to be 15. Look at that, it works out the same. 15 over 5 plus the already existing 2/5 that's there. We got 17/5 as our improper fraction times 1/2. Multiply across top, across the bottom, and we get 17 over 10. That would be our area right there. We can turn this back into a mixed number by just taking out one of those full tens, and we would get 1 7/10 miles. I did that by just noticing that I had a full 10 up here plus an extra 7/10, and I can turn this into that 1 right there. All right, that is your first half of 5.4, multiplying fractions. Tomorrow we'll do dividing fractions. Good luck with this one. Take your time. Work on those equivalent fractions. Work on making those mixed numbers into improper fractions as well. Have a good rest of your day.